Hey everyone, today I'm going to use some paper that I found in the Kaisercraft clearance section to create some really quick and really easy greeting cards. This first one is from the Oh Happy Day collection and it is sold out, but I just love how on this side it has got the gold accents and all of these little cut aparts, and I'm hoping to use these in unique ways to create some quick and easy cards. I also purchased some of the Grand Bazaar collection on the right. This is called Boho Paisley, and I believe that's also sold out. So you may be able to find them in other stores, but on the Kaisercraft website, they're sold out. And I thought that would be a great neutral to partner up with this paper. So what I'm doing here is I've got two little sets of Post-it note flags, and the yellow means I'm going to use that design and the pink means I'm not. So anywhere that I put a little pink flag, I will actually flip it over and use that starburst design instead. So I'm walking through here and I'm looking at all of the different designs and I'm trying to decide if the sentiments themselves would be useful on a card. So some of these are really great for scrapbooking and for other paper projects, and they don't really suit a greeting card. And if that's the case, then you'll start to see me use some of the pink flags. So initially I went through and I thought, what are the obvious ones? And I put a yellow sticker on each of those. But then I started to really look at some of them that just, maybe they were encouraging or uplifting messages, but they just weren't things that I felt that I could use. And because the other side of the 12 by 12 paper is a really pretty design, I thought I didn't really want to chop all of this up and then have some of it get wasted. I will admit that when I got towards the end of the process, I started to think about the size of the scraps that I was going to have once I chopped it up. For example, on the left-hand side, you can see the yellow and the hooray. And I was thinking if for those I chopped them out, I would have two small pieces of the paper behind. But if I kept them, then that would be a long strip that I could probably use. You can see me here just showing what the paper would look like. I could use that as a really good element on a pattern paper card. So I decided that I would forgo those because there was plenty of yellow and I would be able to use those on any cards that I was creating. This next step was a little bit fiddly. So I cut down the first piece of paper into strips and it had all the little post-it sections on it so I could remember which ones I was going to keep and which ones I was going to use the back. And then I just went through it really systematically, chopping up the different sentiments, and where there was a section that had all of the pink, therefore I wasn't using the sentiment, I was going to use the fireworks. I put those to the left-hand side of my trimmer, and then everything else I cut out and I put on the right-hand side. So it took a little while to cut these down, but I ended up with this absolutely incredible stash of really, really cool sentiments that I can use on my card projects. You find yourself checking out the clearance section of a store when you go there to purchase something. I do it every single time, and it is probably not a good habit to be in, and it probably contributes to the fact that I have a lot more supplies than I could ever use. But I have gotten into a rhythm with sorting through my stash and really making a decision about the things that I'm going to use and those that I probably won't. And I have been making up bundles of supplies that I've been donating to our local community centre, and they do holiday programs with school kids, and so they find it super, super useful to have anything that I don't think I'm going to use to have some fun with the kids and get them creating. I will definitely have a big stash to donate for this school holidays for sure. You can see that I'm starting to build up a decent stash on the right-hand side, and I'm just going to keep cutting through these. Oh, I had another question. When do you start creating Christmas cards? I'm not sure when is too early to start doing Christmas videos. I was going to do one in the next couple of weeks, and then I thought, is September too early? I'm not sure. Do you enjoy doing your Christmas cards early so that you're super, super organized, or do you wait until closer to the time? Maybe let me know in the comments below, and then that will help me as I coordinate my upcoming videos and the dates that I release them on. All right, now that I have everything chopped out, I thought the best thing to do would be to use these bigger panels first. And so what I've done is I've used that Boho Paisley paper, and on the flip side of it was a neutral design. So I've chopped those down to 5¼ by 4, and I managed to use those as the basis for about 4 or 5 different card layouts. So this first one here, I'm using the 4 by 3, and I'm matting it in white cardstock. In fact, it's probably heavy white paper is a better way to put it. It's certainly not copy paper, but it's not as thick as you would use for a card base, for example. And I'm just running through, I'm adding these panels, and it's just wishing you a wonderful day. And then this one is wishing you a birthday filled with sunshine and love. These were really, really straightforward and simple, and I could churn through and knock out quite a few cards pretty quickly. And so if you're trying to get some volume for a particular project, this might be a great way for you to be able to do it. So I went through and I did these, and they're on A2 white card bases. So these are 5½ by 4¼ I have a bundle of these in my stash, and I just need to fold them, and then they're ready to go. You can see there those two. Now this next one here, I had these little strips of leftovers from when I chopped the backing panels, and I had them sitting on my desk, and I thought if I flip them over, the black with the paisley actually matches really well, which makes sense because it's two sides of the same paper, and you'll often find that with a paper collection, that if you use both sides on one project, that they all match really beautifully. So I'm adding these two little strips, and then I've just got this Make-A-Wish sentiment. Again, I've just matted it in some white to make it stand out a little bit. And then I'm adding some liquid glue on the back, and I immediately have a really quick, cute card. I did have 9 pieces of the sentiment paper, and so for each of these I did make 9 of each card, and you can see here I've literally covered my desk in panels. I really enjoy working mass production style, and I love having some volume at the end that I can use for donation, and so this is super fun for me. I will admit that bulk making cards really is my happy place. I'm moving on now to the 4th design, and this one again is very simple. It just has this gorgeous boho paisley paper in the background, and then just this gold cheers to you. And it really, the two complement each other so well, and the gold, it just shimmers. It's such pretty paper that running through this again, I got some volume really quickly, and I just matched up a couple of just really simple things together to create something that in my view is really pretty, will be appreciated, and didn't take a lot of time to create. Oh, I wanted to mention that I received a couple of my Diamond Art Club kits in the mail, and I have started my first one. I will insert a little image of how it's going. It is 42 centimeters by 59, so it's a decent size, but I did pick one that was beginner friendly to start with because I did not want to overwhelm myself. So okay, back to the cards. So here I've got some more strips that were leftovers from when I cut down the paisley paper. And I'm layering a thicker strip across the bottom here because I've worked out that this happy birthday to you in the pink, and it's got the gold lettering again. It's just so pretty in real life. If I offset that on the left-hand side of the card, then it really has a really nice balanced look. So you can see with the other one at the top, I've offset it on the right-hand side. And for these ones, I'm actually going to do it on the left. And I did sort of fuss around a little bit with where I was going to put that black strip. I think you would have seen that a bit earlier, but I decided horizontal looked the best. And I do have some scrap of white cardstock that I'm using here instead of foam tape, just to make sure that I don't have a noticeable bump when I lay it on top of that black paper. It's not particularly thick, but without putting that paper, you really can notice it. And this way the card just sits a lot flatter and looks a lot more finished. Oh, and that diamond art painting, and I'm just showing it on the screen again here, is from Mandy Manzano, and she is 100% my favorite artist so far. Actually, Hannah Lynn is amazing as well, but there are a few that have really spoken to me, and I definitely can already see a theme to the ones that I'm gravitating towards. They're all the ones that are sort of really bright colors with quite a bit of black, so they have quite a bit of contrast. We will see how I go and how long it takes me to complete my first diamond painting. I'm just finishing up these pink cards here. Well, some of them, because it was at about this time that I decided These cards are going to take me a while to put together, and I find it super helpful to maybe create some of the cards and then have all the other components ready to go, put them in a Ziploc, and create essentially a card kit that can be assembled later. Sometimes I assemble these and sometimes I donate them and other people do. I'm moving on to, I think this is card design number 6, and I have had these snowflakes on my desk for an incredible amount of time, and I have been dying to figure out a project that I can use them for, and here I'm using them with the Let's Celebrate You sentiment, and I've worked out that using 3 of the snowflakes creates a really cute layout. It is a little tricky here. I'm using tiny little dots of my Barely Art glue and just enough to really stick it down well without having glue ooze out the sides. So this is a bit of an art form, and every now and then I get a little bit heavy-handed with the glue and it ends up being a little bit messy. But for the most part, if you err on the side of caution and use less rather than more, if you find that there's a little bit of the snowflake that's sticking up, you can always just sneak a little bit of glue underneath, and then that will have it sitting flush with the paper. These did not take too long to do. Again, every design as part of this project was really quite quick, and because I used a few things that had been hanging around in my stash, it made me feel like I'd used up some of those items where I had not yet found the perfect project. After I finished doing these panels, I then attached them to a standard A2 card base, and then I bundled all of the leftovers again into my Ziploc so that I can use them another day. I encourage you to have a look through your stash and see if you have any of these 12 by 12 sentiment papers. By cutting them down, you really can create some really cool designs, and maybe it's a project that you can do to use up some of your supplies. I've put a video here that I think you might enjoy. Have a great day.